The Angry Marks Podcast Network is brought to you by WrestleWork, a social network to connect, create, and share everything about pro wrestling. Check it out today at WrestleWork.com.
You're listening to the Impact Implosion on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It is March 6th, 2015, and it is another episode of the Impact Implosion. As always, I am Seth Draken, and on the other end is Mike Poland.
Hello, everybody.
And if your weather is terrible outside, don't worry, ours is terrible too. But we got one new piece of news. Samoa Joe is apparently signed with WWE.
And he's working the Ring of Honor shows Saturday night in Baltimore, and next weekend in Milwaukee and Chicago.
And then he will report to NXT after those ROH bookings.
And within the next few months, I wouldn't be surprised if we got Joe against Kevin Steen.
So, yep, we'll be seeing Joe and Joe on both TNA and NXT.
And Ring of Honor at some points.
Yes. Oh.
It's worse than Rick Rude.
Yep. So, I'm gonna spoil this already. Show was good. So, yes. B+ show, I gave it a B+. The reason why we're doing this before the show is because we gotta talk about one thing that happened.
Oh, yes.
During the commercials. Destination America, in some form of stupidity, spoiled the main event of tonight's show.
Oh, God.
And even worse, that match, the match they were spoiling for, is in 2 freaking weeks.
Way to go for the oversight, guys. Good work.
Nice. Yes. This happened. And absolutely everyone watching went, no, they didn't. No, oh my God, they freaking did.
They spoiled the freaking main event.
Yes.
And everybody watching the show on TV probably turned off. Oh, don't need to see any more.
And not everyone, but a lot of people basically just laughed their asses off. Because I'm sure a lot of people who watched the show already freaking knew the result, but had already read the tapings, but oh my God, if you hadn't.
Whoops. And
you just watched this, you're completely just absolutely baffled. What the hell happened here?
Why would you do that?
I don't know. But yeah, oh God.
Whoever made that decision needs to be fired immediately.
Yes. They're and I absolutely know this is Destination America. There is no way TNA would have done that.
Yes, because they want to get the ratings and want people to watch the frickin' show.
Yes, that is Destination freaking America who did that stupid commercial, because they have control over commercials. Like, unless you're WWE or something, you really don't have, or NFL, you really don't have control over the commercials. Unless you're the NFL's and NBA are probably sports are more likely to be control their commercials than, and it's the freaking Super Bowl that really controls the commercial. So, basically, yeah, that happened. So, LOL TNA, that really is just, Dixie has to be on the phone with the Destination America president, yelling like a motherfucker over that.
You messed up my main event, you bastard!
You bastards! You messed up my main event! How dare you!
This is worse than the time I signed my company over to Eric Bischoff without realizing it.
I've made some dumb decisions before, but this is dumb. How dare you do this to me?
You can't do this to me!
And we are your best show on the air. You would think you would actually earn us something.
Nope. Sorry, Dixie.
Okay, let's get to Impact as we laugh. Because seriously, we almost have to basically laugh at that, treat that like the AJ Styles Clara Lynch of stupidity. Although we're probably not going to get the same reaction because this is more Destination America and not TNA. So, yeah, Impact.
Now you're gonna have to tell me about this first segment because I missed it because it wasn't.
The Beatdown Clan opens the show.
Mm-hmm.
They are still mad that Drew Galloway got involved and messed up their plans for winning the belt. So basically, they called Drew the Chosen One, even though that was only WWE's name. And
it only lasted like 6 months.
And yeah, he got fired, so he's gone.
All they need to do is get Taryn Terrell out there with a telephone or something.
Yeah.
Remember me, Drew?
Okay, the Beatdown Clan starts the show. They're pissed that Drew Galloway ruined their fun, and they're going to tear his ass apart. Well, take his ass apart. But Kenny King said, well, Joe wants the head, or low-key, I can't remember which one, wants the head. I'll take a wing.
A wig?
A wing.
Oh, a wing.
So
he's going to split his wig. That's Mark Henry's gimmick.
And get away with it. And then MVP says they were just having fun with Al Snow and Grado, but the world title is business. And he's been waiting nearly a year. So when Drew chose to get involved in their business, they made the bad choice. So they're giving Tim a chance to come out here and apologize, and maybe they won't whoop his ass.
Well, we know that's not going to happen.
So Drew walks through the crowd, spotlight on him, which for those crowd members, that's the only light they're going to see. Because most of Impact's dark.
Yep.
For some godforsaken reason.
Probably because there's only like 5,000 people there. And that's a big arena.
Yeah.
Stop running big arenas, TNA. I know you try to draw, but you don't.
I know. BDC's basically filled the roles of Kurt Angle from last week by being the crybabies. And
well, at least this time it makes sense.
I'm at home, surrounded by wrestling fans, not sports entertainment fans, and he stopped MVP from stealing. And went on this whole tirade about how basically wrestling should be decided in the ring, not politics, and he is on TNA to speak up for those who have not been listened to stand up for wrestling and give the fans a voice. So basically, shots at WWE, you know, but you know why Drew's really here? WWE released him and TNA's kind of a big deal in the UK.
Yep.
So people have always tried to dictate the fans who the champion should be, but wrestling should be done by the fans, should be decided by the fans based on what happens in the ring. So King said Drew spilled Key's blood last week, talking about that hit to the back of the head that left him a big gash. Mm-hmm. And they demand retribution and satisfaction. Apparently they listened to the Rolling Stones song and said, F that. Because they can get satisfaction. So if they don't take their revenge tonight, they will take a ride and make a visit to Drew's mom and dad's house, or mom and dad's, and says, we'll take their ass. So Drew says, I didn't come to TNA to make an ass out of you guys, or to talk. I came here to stand up to wrestling and to fight. So, Kenny, why don't you send your boys to the back, and you could try and teach me a lesson. So, Kenny basically sends the BDC to the back. Well, for the most part. I say that for the most part because then immediately afterwards, they attack. Mm-hmm. Before even the match begins. And, the match continues. And King starts beating up on Galloway. This was a good match, but one of the funny things about TNA was that their shop TNA.com was talking about buying the beanies, buying the BDC beanies, Beatdown Clan.
But they're heels. Why would I want their merchandise?
Or why would I want beanies to begin with?
I'm not Jewish. I don't want a beanie.
So Impact, Dixie tweeted that Impact was the most watched wrestling show in Germany last week because of their new deal.
Yeah.
So might want to start doing the shows there. It ends with a jackknife pin with
Kenny hit the DDT.
Kenny King tries a jackknife pin with feet on the ropes. That backfires because Drew is able to set him up for the future shock and get the win.
Mm-hmm.
The Beatdown Clan tries to attack, and, well, Drew gets out of the way. Bobby Roode comes out and says Eric Young tried to take everything from him, but he's still standing here. And he will be the new number one contender, and there's no one who can stop him. So Kurt Angle comes out.
Yep. I'm going to be the number one contender.
I'm going to be the number one contender, and I'm going to get in your way.
And
so if Roode disagrees, we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait.
He slowly walks towards the ring.
EY attacks Roode from behind.
And we get a three-way brawl.
Yep. But with EY retreating.
Because Angle hit like 2 punches on him.
Yep. So
there's your strong heel.
So then Josh Matthews mentioned this several times during the show, but he's basically like, there's no way Taryn Terrell can beat Awesome Kong tonight.
Of course not.
And we're going to have Bram versus Magnus next.
Week.
Bram versus Matt Hardy. Yeah. So James Storm is trying to recruit Bram in the back, and we had this. I like what you did with Magnus. I like what you did with Jeff. Memories of Heidenreich and Snitsky come to mind.
I like your poetry.
I like that thing you do with children.
You mean kick them in the crowds?
Yeah.
Lord.
This was here where we got the Destination America spoiler commercial, but
we already talked about that.
And then we got a montage of Kurt Angle asking us who will win the number one contendership. We already know, thanks to Destination America. So we had now Matt Hardy versus Bram, which was an okay match.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
The right guy won, so Bram gets the piece of the turnbuckle, tries to attack Matt, and Magnus returns and wants to beat the crap out of Bram. And Bram has to retreat, and Magnus says, you need to listen. I could have gone home with a broken heart, or I could have standed up with for my family, these people. And I'm going to get my hands on you, and this time no titles, no money, it's going to be personal. And you're going to get the beating you deserve. And I will spill your blood all over England before it's all over. Magnus is over here. This was a really good promo. And we got a few of those in this show, of good promos.
Including the next one, I believe.
Yes, it was the next one. We had Rockstar Spud talking to Mr. Anderson, and with the suit that looks like what I saw Matthew Gregg of Botchamania wearing when he was at King of Trios. Same suit. So I'm asking him who's their tailor.
Needles.
Because really, we have to find out who the tailor to those suits.
Needles the tailor would never get done.
Yep. So also, Low Key is yelling at Kenny King backstage for losing to Drew. He is mad.
Good.
So
not sure why.
Mr. Anderson's talking to Rockstar Spud. Rockstar Spud says, I have to do this alone. And he's like, okay, I'm with Spud.
And we have a video package chronicling the Spud EC3 feud.
And Spud calls out EC3 to come out alone. And I was actually thinking EC3 wasn't going to do that, come out with Tyrus, but he actually comes out alone.
He looks like a mannequin in the suits he wears.
Who? Spud?
EC3.
EC3, yeah.
Like they used to call Vince when he would commentate in those kind of suits.
So Spud challenges him to a match, and Ethan's like, you don't get to make challenges. I am the future. You're a little boy. I am, and Spud tells him to shut up.
I know. I was there.
Accomplishments because I was there helping you. And if that's important, fight me. And Ethan mocks him and says, if he wants a match, it's on, but you lose. I get to shave your head when it's over. And Spud thinks about it and says, fine, but why don't you put your hair on the line too? Because I will humiliate you. I will end your streak, and I will shave your bald. And Ethan's like, okay, hair versus hair? Streak versus Spud?
I like how they both hesitated once they heard the stipulation, like,
yes,
they didn't know where it was going.
Careful what you wish for, because it's on. A challenge accepted. Back in the real world, bad guys win.
Ethan, when I was insecure, you called me a tiger, a gazelle. I am none of those things. I'm a frickin' man, and next week I'm going to shave you bald.
Yes, this was a great segment to sell us a match.
Almost like it should be on a pay-per-view, but they don't do legitimate pay-per-views very much anymore.
No, they tape those.
Mm-hmm.
So then, after that, we had Taryn Terrell. She's going to defend against Awesome Kong.
I didn't see this match. I missed this.
Runs right up and tries to attack Kong.
That's smart.
No, not really, but you got to give her the credit.
Yeah, but, why would you... Why? Why?
It was also a pretty decent match. However, it ended because Kong shoved the referee, who was trying to get in her way, and the ref calls for a DQ because of,
She shoved me!
She shoved me! Yeah, the finish wasn't good, so Kong continues to stomp Taryn on the outside, whips her into the ring steps, tries to set up a impact buster onto the floor. Implant buster onto the floor. Gail Kim runs out and stops her, so Kong and Gail Kim fight to the back.
Yay! Next.
Overall, protecting Taryn and protecting Awesome Kong too, in a good way.
And setting up the three-way for a couple of weeks from now.
Yeah, so now we have the tag team championship match
This was good. This was good. A little messy, but it was good.
This was great.
Yes.
Yes, before the match even began, the rest of the Revolution, because originally Storm and Abyss came out alone.
Where did Manic and Koya and Sonata come from? What were they hiding out in the ring?
No, they came from the back. While the Wolves were making their entrance, they came and attacked them from behind. And we had some great spots. The Wolves doing a bunch of planches to everyone.
Including Matt Hardy, who showed up mid-match.
Yeah, Matt Hardy showed up mid-match. James Storm threw him into a plancha.
Now, Wolves hit like 6 planchas on everybody.
Yes. So,
they were plancha happy.
Manic tries to Sonata tries to interfere, hits Manic with the mist. Abyss takes Eddie down. Abyss goes for the cowbell. Ref takes it away. Well, Matt actually takes it away, hits a twist of fate. The Wolves hit what they call the Hammer of Gods, which is the simultaneous double stomps, and they become new tag team champions.
Yep.
And James Storm is pissed at Koya for some reason.
But Abyss took the fall.
I know. He beat up Abyss, damn it. You're supposed to beat up Abyss.
Probably because he knows Abyss would stand up to him.
I know. Have the rest of your members beat up Abyss.
Won't be the first faction he's been kicked out of.
TNA then wants us to tweet our favorites for the main event.
By the way, when Abyss and Storm were coming out, they tell us about all the tag team titles Storm is held. I'm pretty sure Abyss has a couple, too.
Yes, Abyss does have a couple, but Storm has like so many with so many partners.
He's a tag team specialist.
Specialist, yeah.
Yeah.
So, TNA, you want us to tweet our favorites of the main? You still haven't seen Destination America spoil your show yet, have you?
Oh, Taz and Josh haven't.
Nope. So, by the way, British Boot Camp 2 is the next TNA One Night Only. Problem is, saw it in the UK when it aired, and we're not going to watch that show. I'm not going to watch it.
I will watch I'll watch one night only again when they start airing the ones that they taped in Orlando.
Yeah, because honestly, this is not one you really need to see.
No, there's no matches here.
No matches. Just the show.
It's tough enough.
Congratulates the Wolves on their victory and mentions he wants a shot when the Jeff gets better. The Wolves are okay with this. By the way, also, British Boot Camp 2, this is basically highlights from that show.
So probably like 3 hours of highlights. Yeah, let's watch that.
So then we have our main event, and this was pretty good.
Yes.
Too bad they got spoiled, but we had Kurt Angle do 10 consecutive German suplexes on the Eric Young.
R.I.P. Eric Young's neck.
You just seriously, you thought he was doing the usual Benoit spot, and then he freaking continues, and I'm like,
he Brock Lesnar'd him.
I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god, poor Eric Young in this situation.
This poor bastard.
And this was almost at the end. Rude actually goes for a Rude bomb. Angle reverses it, tries for an Rude gets a crossface on him. Angle reverses that into an ankle lock. Rude
what are the logistics of that?
Well, he grabbed the leg because, that leg's hanging out.
Oh, okay.
Powered out of it, grabbed his leg, and Rude re-reverses it into the crossface, and EY, he should have sold this more, but he comes back and stops it. God damn it, you took 10 German suplexes, buddy.
Sell the German suplexes, you dumbass. You should not be getting up.
No, you shouldn't.
You should be dead. You just got dropped on your head 10 times.
So, Angle slam by Kurt Angle onto Rude only gets a 2 count. EY tries to interfere, gets ankle locked, but he gets the ropes. Then Rude tries for the Rude bomb. Kurt reverses again into another ankle lock.
And the ref gets taken out.
Yeah, Rude gets out of it to take out the ref. EY hits Rude with the chair.
Ref's out.
EY pushes EY. Angle pushes EY out of the ring, hits an angle slam on Rude, and gets the 3. It's a pretty heel move by Kurt Angle here.
And then Lashley comes out.
Yeah, Franklin comes out, congratulates Kurt. They do the stare down.
And you have Rude kind of in the background there at the end, I noticed, too.
Like I said, this show gets a B+.
Yeah.
Totally got fucked over by Destination America and their commercial for 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, and they sold next week's show by basically saying, we have Magnus versus Bram, we have a last man standing match, and a hair versus hair match.
Mm-hmm. Well, they always do that anyway. They do that. That's actually good.
I know.
That's something you should do.
Agreed. So, do you have anything to sell? Because we're at the end of the show.
Friday night, I won't be here. I will most likely be at IWE in South Portland, featuring the Battle of the Hometown Heroes as Ace from Arrow battles Flash Nick McKenna. Also, the Hey Man Eric Johnson battles Heart Attack Mac. The next night on Ace from Arrow battles Tommy Mac in a contenders match. And it'll be WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas, Johnny Primer, and Graves against Aftershock, Adam Ricker, Joey Primer, and Crash Landing in a 6-man tag. Main Event Wrestling presents Rage in the Cage weekend, March 27th and 28th. On the 28th, it'll be all cage. The main event will be in a cage match, as it will be Sonny Roselli and John the Bomb Breyer taking on the team of the Leatherheads of Tony Starr and Mean Mark Mahoney, and much more. And I think that's all I've got to sell.
So, yeah, honestly, I have nothing to sell. So, Miley, it is time for a walk.
And we'll see you probably in 2 weeks.
See ya.